He is a storyteller of the soul, a bridge between East and the West, and a father redefining mindfulness for the next generation. We dive deep into his journey as a yogi, how yoga shapes his fatherhood, and the evolving landscape of wellness. Brent Goble, founder of Peace Blue Yoga.
Yoga has made me a better father, and fatherhood has made me a better yoga teacher and practitioner.
Who's the most fun to teach yoga to, adults or kids?
Kids are fantastic. In moment to moment, it can be slow, it can be tedious. Yoga helps expand your container for patience, for attention, for love, for understanding.
Hello, Brent. Welcome to the Hans India. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here, Brent. First of all, Piece of Blue Yoga, the title, the inception. Talk to us about it. It's an immersive journey. The website, I was doing my research, and the website feels so deeply curated and so mindful. But there are still a section of people who questions the is yoga really that powerful? Is it? And when did you first experience its true transformative power?
My yoga journey began when I was around 20 years old. I was doing some theater in the eastern part of North Carolina, and up there, the trees change you. It's called Flat Rock, North Carolina, and it's a heavily wooded area. There's these big rolling hills that are all forested. And it was there that I began a big transformation within myself. We, in between shows, we were having these curated classes and everything on how it was developing us personally. And we had this really transformational yoga class done by this woman who is a little bit more on the hippie side, you could call it. But she took us through this meditative journey, and there was a deep awakening within me from that one class. I had a wonderful, wonderful experience from this meditation. And that really spawned a change in me that led to a deep seeking of who I was and who I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was ever since 20 years old, and I'm almost 40 now, so it's a journey
20-year long
now that
journey.
has encompassed about 2 decades
Yes.
of really inquiring who I am, what I'm meant to do in this world. And those powerful questions are my guiding lights in my life. And it has taken me to all sorts of places. And that's just been part of the wonderful journey that I've had in asking those questions. So I would say, post that, I began reading a lot on meditation, on those in self inquiries. And I
Mm-hmm.
was doing practices, I was doing breath work on my own. And this was back in 2006.
Okay.
So since then, my life has taken on fabulous, fabulous changes and ups and downs. And the times where it was actually toughest was the times in my life where my journey stagnated. And that's what looking back I realized was the toughest part of my life, was when I wasn't asking those questions anymore. So it's if you want to dare to dance the rapids and choose to chance the tides, then you need to be asking those big questions.
Wow. So yoga really have changed a lot in your life. And has it been your constant companion? Would you say that?
See, yoga is a path that one chooses to take. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's a lifestyle, but it's more of for me, it's more of a set of guiding principles where I continue, if I have the who am I, what am I meant to do guiding me
Mm-hmm.
through all of my pursuits, that gives me a sense of clarity. And it's been the practice of yoga in its systematic forms that has
Mhm.
helped shape and cultivate how I approach both of those questions.
Yes. So, Brent, you can't see, but in front of me are the videos of you teaching yoga to these kids. I want to know from you, from a student yourself to being yoga guru now. Who do you, what, who's the most fun to teach yoga to, adults or kids?
Kids are fantastic. They're truly so what you're seeing now is a very good friend of mine is very connected here in Ahmedabad, and she's
Mm-hmm.
connected with the community outreach. So some underfunded schools, some organizations that help the underprivileged. Um, no fees are ever transferred for things like this. It's always she goes, I need you here, and I'm like, tell me when I'm going. And there's no other questions beyond that other than a few logistical things. And so it's those kind of pursuits, and the kids, oh God, they're fantastic. I don't know if it's because I'm a dad now, but
Yeah,
children
maybe.
are the most fun to teach because it's all about fun with them. You In teaching kids, it's not that you have to set your bar low, but you don't have to take it so seriously, which in the spirit of practicing yoga, there should be an element of play. And so in teaching kids, we get to play around the edges, we get to tell stories with the different asanas, and in capturing their attention during the 30 or 45 minutes we have, we all count together during the postures as we're holding the posture, so that really locks them into that place.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't do hard stuff, of course. We just do simple stretching, but they enjoy it. And so I will
Mm-hmm.
move quickly around the room so, they stay focused on me. If you stay too stagnant with them, they start to drift. So you have to be constantly engaging. So it's a lot of work. I'm exhausted by the end of it, but it's one of those things where my heart's full. And we usually close class then with about a good 3 to 5 minutes of just really, we shut our eyes and we just breathe together, and they listen to me. And it's amazing during that time how centered that they become. And you
Mm-hmm.
think kids are running all over the place, which they are. That's what they're supposed to do. But it's amazing when you teach them these postures in a very friendly and fun way, how how much they receive in all of that, and how much they take with them in return, and how much they give back to you. So yeah, I love teaching kids. I love teaching adults too.
Okay.
But the kids have a special place in my heart when it comes to my
Of
teaching.
course. That I saw on your Instagram feed, you were also teaching your son. He's too
Oh
young. Don't you
yeah.
think for him to learn yoga, or do you feel that you need to teach them young, the right
Listen.
discipline, the right postures, everything?
So I will be practicing. And, you've seen this time and again with these parents that are practicing their yoga, and
Uh-huh.
the kids are just so interested, and they want to do what you do. And
Yes.
so, it's a little bit of monkey see, monkey do. And
So he
it's been
joined
remarkable.
you, or did you
Huh?
make
See?
him do it?
What is it?
Did he join you, or you made him do it?
He joins me a little bit, but he usually like pulls out my leg and slaps my shoulders and things like that. So, he goes, "Daddy, stop, 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 daddy, stop." So they're just curious about all the funny things that you're doing while you're breathing in a deep way. And I said, my teachers had always told me, they said, when your kids are coming around you while you're practicing yoga, they said that above your individual experience of yoga, the
Mhm.
time that you get to spend in practice with your kids, that is solid gold. And so, and sometimes you would think, if you didn't have kids, like, oh, I couldn't get through my yoga practice, so many distractions. It's like, no, that is what yoga gets you. they get,
Mhm.
they get you that presence of mind to play in the realm of a yoga practice with your child. And it's so beautiful in that way because then it's like, okay, let me in a fun way, let me show you what to do. And he puts his hands down the ground and he does it with 110% effort and 110% sincerity. And
Yeah,
it's
because you commented that
fantastic.
the form was 10,000% correct.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. And we always his form, yes, 10,000% perfect because he does it with his full heart. And that's the spirit that we want to do yoga in, is not necessarily so it looks good, but the attitude that we bring to it is what gives it its perfection. So
Right.
you'll, in this,
So he's following your footstep, or is he more like Ashka in many ways?
he's 18 months old. I think we have a long road to figure this out. I could talk all day about how wonderful it is watching him grow up. And for
Right.
Ashka and I both,
Mm-hmm.
what a beautiful gift from God he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a remarkable, charming personality. And he has this glint in his this charming little glint in his eyes that just warms anyone who meets him. And he likes meeting strangers, which was a little concerning for us at the beginning, but he's since kind of tapered off to, yeah. this
He does. Oh my God.
we
Then he's
well
the most favorite child for everyone.
we had these small instances where we would get into an elevator with him, and he's been so properly socialized with many different people. And the Indian population also loves kids, and they are also very interested in him. And so people would do this typical come to me, and he would, and we were usually like, oh, okay, we can't do that. We can handshake, we can high five. And since then he's stopped that. But it's still he just warms and charms everyone that he meets. And we don't know who he's got that from. My wife has her qualities. I have my qualities. He looks like Ashka from
Uh-huh.
here,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else he has of mine. So who does he take after? I don't know. I think he's just the best qualities of both myself and my wife.
Lovely. So has fatherhood influenced your yoga practices and all,
Yoga
or
has
your
made
outlook on
me
wellness?
yoga has made me a better father, and fatherhood has made me a better yoga teacher and practitioner. They work hand in hand. Um, my life has blossomed in so many ways since October 2023, when he's come into our lives. And my during that time of trying to figure out fatherhood, I before this happened, my other students would have kids and they'd say, "Sorry, I have to cancel today. My son or my daughter were up all night," and it was a little bit of that. Okay, all right, I figured it out. But now I get it.
You
So I
get
have a
it.
lot
Now that
more.
you're in the same shoe.
Yeah, I have a lot more patience now that I never thought I would have previously, and it is a massive shift in priorities. But yoga helps that. Yoga helps expand your container for patience,
Mm-hmm.
for attention, for love, for understanding, but mainly patience,
Mm-hmm.
and just understanding that in moment to moment, it can be slow, it can be tedious, but before you know it, the day's over. Before you know it, the week, the month, the year is over. And all you're left doing is looking back at pictures going, oh my God, where's the time gone already? It is such a phenomenon of time jump when you have kids. And my wife and I, we went from taking, one or two pictures a day to like, one or two pictures a minute of him. And so between now and October 2023, it's just all photos of him. And here's a few screenshots of payments that we have to send, and then it's all photos of him. And thankfully, we can relive those moments, but I will tell everyone that, and I'm sure that they know this, when you have kids, be prepared to know that time is going to jump and they're going to be wonderful and cute, and then it's over. And then they just go into the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. But you're kind of wishing for just to go back to maybe 1 hour of them being soft and squishy and kind of chubby and giggling and all this stuff. And now Alex is walking and running, and we're working on jumping now. So yeah, again, I could talk for hours on what it's like, but my priorities again have shifted when I go into my meditations. Whenever Alex pops into my head, I have this warm glow around my heart that is just him. And that is something that, oh, it's a golden gift from God. So,
As I can gauge, fatherhood really suits you, Brent.
oh, I love it.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
I'd also want to know, is yoga your only form of exercise or something, or do you also follow gym routines or anything?
Sure. So I will say that as I'm approaching 40 years old,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think all men out there that are approaching 40 can vouch for this, your body starts to change. Things
Mm-hmm.
aren't as easy as they once were. Sometimes things get heavier that you thought were a lot easier. Your testosterone levels start to dip a little bit. And sometimes you wake up with some crick in your neck and you're like, how the heck did that happen? So what I do is I stick with my yoga practice. That's fine. My yoga practice has diminished in time scope. I'm really big into my morning meditation where I just sit quietly. I come into a posture. I do a
Mm-hmm.
few quick, uh, powerful breaths, and then I just sit there for a good 20 minutes to just center myself out and go to set myself up for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that now approaching 40, I'm a little bit more back into my strength training that I used to do in college, but I'm doing it through a yoga mindfulness lens.
Okay.
And I think that's
Yeah.
extremely important. I'm going to touch on this a few times probably during our interview, but what I've realized is over the course of the human species,
Mm-hmm.
we are at least 300,000 years old. This structure is
Mm-hmm.
300,000 years old, but our software is modern, so to speak. How we think about the world, how we think about civilization, you know, that's been going on, say, for a couple, I don't know, even a couple decades, considering how fast time changes everything. So you have a 300,000-year-old hardware with a few decades old software. And if you
Mm-hmm.
think about how our brain has formulated around community, tribes, civilization, that's been going on around max 10,000 years. So, what I realized is that yoga is excellent for centering your hormones, it's excellent for having a kind of spiritual foundation, a mental clarity, a thought provoking inquiry. It's really a way for you to update that software. But our hardware is still designed for running miles a day, for doing hard, grueling lifting of things to survive. So what I've realized, what kind of connection that I made is I need to get back to lifting heavy stuff. And that's just the simplest way that I can describe it. And in connecting from a yoga mindfulness into that resistance training has been awesome for me. I have a lot of energy. My joints and tendons are fine. You don't have to lift like a bodybuilder, but you need to realize that you're going to lose a certain small percentage over time past 40. And this is important for everyone too. I think for women as well, that resistance training in conjunction in a complementary way is extremely important for physical health. I know people are very much talking about weight loss, which is important if you find that that is an issue with you physically. But I will say that instead of weight loss, how about we increase our strength? How about we increase our resilience? Let's build a strong body. And in building that strong body, what you notice is your hormones are better regulated. Your digestion is fantastic. Do yoga. Excellent.
Mhm.
Please don't stop that because that's important. What's
Mhm.
most important in the yoga is the meditation, is the
Right.
access to breath. Now,
Right.
people might think, well, what about the postures? Postures are also important for joint stability, for skin elasticity, for overall muscle toning, muscle health. But what yoga postures are sometimes in want of is we need to challenge our nervous system with the world around us. So I'm a big believer in lifting heavy stuff
Mhm.
mindfully, of course,
Mhm.
keeping in mind the joints. This body, you need it for 100 years. So you got to treat
Mhm.
it well. But you also need to challenge it. For me, that's lifting heavy stuff repeatedly over a period of about 45 to 60 minutes. Now I also mix that up with I do the rowing machine, I will do some jump training. I will, jump off of a gym box, or I will push around a medicine ball from a decline bench so I really target my core. And I target my spine. The spine, unlike what they used to say, were avoid twisting, jerking motions. Well, that's kind of what the spine is meant to do. Now, if you train it that way, your spine's going to be
Mhm.
more resilient. If you don't move in that way, and all of a sudden you do, you're at risk for injury. So
Mhm.
I would say prepare your body for anything. Another thing that I think is excellent is jujitsu. Now, I personally haven't done it myself, but I'm a huge believer in people getting back to that primal wrestling sort of state in order to bring us into a sense of, again, getting back into that place where that's how we used to build and train ourselves. So lots of different things. I know aerial yoga is also an excellent new, relatively new form of yoga. I've done it a few times, and I think it's great. I think as long as you apply a sense of mindfulness, of breath, your body moving in space, yeah, it's fine. Totally do it. So I'm not a giant fan of going out and running on the concrete. I would much rather run on the beach, run barefoot across, a field or something like that, keeping in mind my safety. But I'm my knees and my hips don't really like 3 days later or one day or 2 days later of running on asphalt or on the street. I just don't like it and I don't want to do it, so I won't do it. But I love my yoga. I love my resistance training. I love doing the rowing.
Mhm.
I love jumping. It's great.
Lovely. Brent, I'd also want you to decode the theme of 2025 International Yoga Day, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi proposed during his Man Ki Baat address very recently. It is yoga for one earth, one health. What's your take on that?
I think yoga for one earth and one health is a great theme in regards to the sense that we all have this one earth that we're on together. We're all sharing this collective experience. And something really beautiful happens when yoga is practiced with other people. I remember quite vividly back to a teacher certification that I was in back in New York City, back when I
Mhm.
was around 24, 25 years old. And our teacher said something very profound. He goes, "We're going to take you through a Kriya, and I want you to remember that this is going to get very uncomfortable, not painful, but it will get extremely uncomfortable, and you need to push through it. Don't deprive anyone around you of you backing out. You need to bring your 100% effort through this, and you need to see it through to the end." And what happened as a result of that directive from our guru at the time was the air filled up in a thick sense of effort, of presence. Everyone was absolutely laser focused on the Kriya ahead. And when you're in a group of people who are all experiencing the same thing with the same objective, with the same intensity, the power of community manifests itself 100 fold. So, yoga, one earth, one health, we're all in this to expand our health, to become the best versions of our physical health on this earth. So, I will say that I think what Modi's doing in this annual International Yoga Day is a wonderful thing for the country and for the world.
Right. And I believe that you are a very rightful representation of this theme, as for you, borders are really not a thing. You brought your yoga from New York to India, embraced India, its culture, and yoga in true sense. Was it always in your plan to come to India and live this life through and
No,
through?
no, it wasn't. When I met my wife while I was living in Las Vegas at the time, I was in hospitality, and I met my wife while she was on holiday, and we hit it off. I'll just say that much. And she had told me after I took her to dinner one night, she had told me, "You should come to India because I have a feeling you were always meant to come to India. You probably just never realized it before." And she told me that with a very steely-eyed presence within her. And my wife is, of course, very persuasive. I have a hard time saying no to her. And
Clearly, you
even
are here.
very much. And even back then, I believed her because she was very connected to what she was saying. So I came to this country, and I came with an open slate and three duffel bags. That's what I came with. And I was just under the impression of whatever happens, happens, and I'm going to greet every experience with an open heart and take it from there. So yeah, I it wasn't until about a year and a half later where I realized that, this is the birthplace of yoga, and I'd already been practicing yoga for well over a decade at that point,
Mhm.
but just in other cities. And she told me, "Why don't you go do a yoga program?" So I said, "Okay." And I went, and I had a great time. And I said, "I'm not doing anything right now because because my visa restricts me from doing so. So why don't I do a yoga program?" So I did it, and I had a wonderful time. I did one program, then I did a 3 month program. Then I took a little time off to just kind of let everything settle. And then I did another 1 month program. And then that's when I realized that I was truly ready to teach.
Right. And we're happy that you're here. But was that transition difficult for you? Because you also had to leave your family behind, wasn't it?
Yes, it's extremely difficult. It wasn't difficult at the time because I think whenever you start something new, the ramifications aren't really clear about what you're doing. When
Mhm.
when people come to India, they talk about, it's a culture shock and everything. And but there's that sense that this is for the short time. This is only going to go on for however long that you're here. Then you're going to go back and you're going to have wonderful stories. But for me, it was different. For for me, there was no end date, and I just came here, and I'm like, well, I made quite a big decision, didn't I?
You
And that's
did.
I love my wife. I came here, and we had a tremendous time traveling around, And then there comes that time around 6, 7 months in where you kind of go, I'm still here. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. so so then that's when more of the soul searching comes around. And again, I did the yoga program. We did Nach Baliye together, as I'm sure you remember.
Yes, you did. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really liked you both. I was very young, I was in school, I guess, but you guys were my favorite couple, hands down.
I appreciate that. And I hope you're not just telling me that because I'm in the interview with you. But
No,
I
no,
will say
really.
we had a
You
tremendous time. We had a tremendous
into
experience.
yoga.
We had
I knew this from years ago that Brent is into yoga, and I want him as a guest for our International Yoga Day program. I knew this, and I'm very happy that we are doing this today.
absolutely. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
So, since we are talking about how you are bridging, like you are acting as a bridge between East and the West, what's your take on how yoga is evolving globally?
Listen, I thought I've been given this question a lot over the years, and what I realized is that yoga is a straight line from where it was first discovered
Mhm,
till present.
mhm,
Nothing is going to change that. It is only our perception and our optics around yoga that continue to change. Yoga is yoga is a, you know, it's as old as civilization. It's even older than that, I would probably say.
right. Mhm,
But yoga is going to be here long after we're gone. It was here long before we were. It's going to be here long before we're gone. So it's how we use yoga that is really going to make the most impact. So I would say that it's better that more people are aware of it than not. There are wonderful forms. There's people who have done some terrible things in the name of yoga. And there are some people who have done remarkably beautiful things in the name of yoga. Um, and it's easy to say the people who have done, not right by yoga. Would you call it yoga? I don't know. Probably not. People have probably perverted certain yoga practices for their own gain. But I don't think that means that yoga is the problem. I think people have, again, perverted yoga for their own selfish means because yoga is timeless. It's a science that gets passed through many different people over the years, and it just people use it however that they're going to use it. So I will say that yes, it is more prevalent than it was, and the way our markets grow and everything, yoga is not going anywhere. So I
mhm,
think we need to, not necessarily cast it aside. People want to add a branding to it. Will the ascetics tell you that it's not for commercial purposes? Of course they will. But at the same time, there's people who need yoga. And there's
mhm,
people who will probably not go into the mountains and
mhm,
meditate for 13, 16, 20 hours a day in their practice. And that's okay. Can they still benefit from 20 minutes a day? Of
mhm,
course. So I don't think that there should be gatekeeping around yoga. I think yoga is for all. Yoga should be for all. And we don't need to get too caught up in um, again, gatekeeping that for the people who really need it, but are still of this world. They're still invested in their jobs and their families. They don't probably have time or the energy or the inclination to really dive deep and ask themselves these sometimes pulverizing questions. They just want to take their 20 minutes out and connect with themselves, and that's okay. Give them that.
as you said, yoga is for everyone, right? I also want to quickly touch upon nutrition part, right? It is often overlooked. People want to get that perfect shape, perfect body. They'll get to gym. They'll do all sorts of fitness routine. But I think proper balanced meal is something that we often overlook. How important is that, Brent? And what does your plate look like on a normal day? Do you eat healthy? Is there a balance between junk or healthy food, nutritional food? How does it look like?
Nutrition is paramount to a healthy
Mhm.
lifestyle, not just yoga, but just to a disciplined, healthy lifestyle. High protein, moderate amount of carbs, moderate amounts of fat. Cut out the fried foods, please. I beg of you. Okay. There have been in the past, ever since COVID, there's been this anti-seed oil movement, and we're now realizing through data, through recent studies, that that might not be true. So it's good to stay plugged into the trends, but as long as you are, of course, not going overboard, but as long as you're looking at the data, looking at the science, and not falling into traps of pro one way, pro another. I believe in the ethical pursuit of veganism. I don't believe in the nutritional data of it. However, whatever you choose, whatever works for you, that's fine. I tried going vegan for a while. It did not work for me.
Mhm.
I will say that eating 3 square meals a day, 4 square meals a day is excellent. Try to limit your alcohol to two drinks a week. Cut out the simple sugar. Enjoy the birthday cakes. Enjoy the ice cream. Food is cultural. Okay.
Mhm.
To say, oh, I'm on a diet, that's fine. That's okay. Don't be rude about it. And others, don't be rude to the people who are on the diets. But that balance is key. If you have a certain goal in mind of what you're trying to achieve, stick with it. But life happens. Enjoy the birthday cake. Enjoy the desserts that you have with family. Those build memories. That's good for your soul. However, just keep in mind your daily routine of that balance. It's okay to I don't want to call it falling off the balance and everything, but it's okay to enjoy certain things every once in a while. You should. That's good for you. And then go back to your routine, and then step off the routine, and then jump back on. It's We're not always on the balance beam. Okay, we sometimes get off. We sometimes go to the drinking fountain. We sometimes go have to use the washroom, and then we get back on the balance beam. So that balance of being on and off is also important.
Mhm. What's your favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat meal.
Yeah.
I can kill off an entire medium pizza by myself. I'm pretty proud of that. So a big cheesy, lots of, oh gosh, what do I usually put on there? Oh, I'm no, I'm not gonna say what I eat, because the pizza purists out there will really have it out with me. But I love a big thick crust pizza. It's awesome.
Yeah, cheese loaded pizza.
Yeah.
Also, Brent, what's your thoughts on goat yoga? It sounds very quirky, and I think West is more obsessed with it. But have you tried it, and how does that work really?
All right. So yoga's been around for thousands of years, and we have remarkable texts about the yoga journey, about connecting to God and connecting to oneself through breath. The Yoga Sutras in chapter 3, stay with me, talk about the siddhis, the powers that come from yoga. We have the rishis, we have the Vivekanandas, we have the Yoganandas. I don't think that there is a serious place for anything regarding yoga with animals in the realm of yoga. All right. I
Why?
I'm not here to cast shade on anyone who practices that, but I will tell people that if they want to perform pet yoga of any kind, you sit in a meditative posture and you bring your pet into your lap. You pet, the dog, the cat, the goat, whatever, and sit calmly and just focus on the love in your heart. That's whatever that's the closest thing to whatever animal yoga you want to experience. Anything other than that, what I just described,
Mhm.
I don't see how you can piggyback on the greatness of the gurus before us, of the sacred texts where yoga comes from, and bring a goat into it.
You're
So
not
that's
happy
all
with
I'm
the
going to say
concept.
on that.
So not a fan of the concept.
No, not at
All
all.
right. Since you mentioned that you were partaking in several yoga programs, did you also attend some yoga shivers of Ramdev Baba?
Ramdev Baba, we had a really fun interaction during Nach Baliye for that. And there was a
Okay.
segment where I would come on stage because I did a scorpion pose in one of my dance routines. And he came on and we did this bit together. And I had a wonderful time with him. Past that, that was the only interaction that I've had with Ramdev Baba. And I wish him well. He is an incredible man, and he's
Mhm.
done a lot with his life. And have nothing but respect and love in my heart for him. I have done a number of programs with Sadhguru down in
Mhm.
South,
Yes.
and he's done some amazing things for the country of India. I've done things with teachers and gurus that you probably never heard of, that don't have any kind of popular following except in very small groups.
Mhm.
And they've all left a remarkable imprint on me. And I'd say there's a guru for everyone. And I will say that I don't think I've met my one guru yet, but when I'm ready, deep in my heart, they will come.
Right. Now we'll quickly jump into rapid fire round. Are you cool with that?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Perfect then. Here it comes. Favorite place to practice yoga?
At home in the cleanest, safest, comfortable place that you have in your house.
Fill in the blanks. Yoga to me is
What? Say that again.
fill in the blanks. Yoga to me is dot 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 dot.
A series of personal objectives, lifestyle choices, and ideals that you live by and practice to achieve a higher state of mind, one that is heavily inclined towards the divine.
All right. Your go-to yoga posture.
Standing forward fold.
How does a day begin usually?
My day begins, do my morning routine, brush my teeth, and then I am in a meditative posture. I have my scarf wrapped around me and go deep inside.
Right. Three easy yoga postures for beginners.
Standing forward fold, no matter if your legs are bent or straight, doesn't matter to me.
Mhm.
Standing quad stretch and
Okay.
downward facing dog.
Three instant benefits of yoga.
Mental clarity, emotional regulation, and breath awareness.
Three long-term benefits of yoga.
Again, mental clarity, a spiritual foundation,
Mhm.
and discipline.
Okay. Early morning practice or evening wind down.
Early morning practice.
One Indian tradition you have fully embraced.
It's it's not a tradition per se. I would call it more of a custom. and that's taking my shoes off before I go inside someone's home. It makes absolute sense.
Yes, and that's respectful also. Thank you for doing that because we
Yeah,
really
of
take
course,
it
of
seriously
course.
here.
I mean, I go outside on the street. I don't want to bring that inside someone's house. So,
So, aerial yoga or traditional yoga, what excites you more?
what excites me more?
Mm-hmm.
Excites. The word
Mm-hmm.
excites. Aerial yoga is probably more exciting because you're suspended in the air, but
Yes.
traditional yoga is a little bit more focused for me. So I gotta break the rules of the thing and say it just kind of in terms of excitement. Of course, aerial yoga is probably more exciting, but that's not really why we practice yoga. It's not for the excitement.
Which song do you play often when you practice yoga?
I usually don't play music, but if I were to play music, sometimes, like if I'm teaching a class and my
Mm-hmm.
classes, I can tell a little scatterbrained before we begin. I will play
Mm-hmm.
handpan music, and Hang Massive is a great handpan duo. Back here is a handpan, by the way. It's
Mm-hmm.
shaped like that tortoise shell. It's a beautiful instrument. It's non-distracting. It kind of elevates the space, elevates the awareness that you're in when you hear. It's such a beautiful instrument.
Right. Who has more control over their cravings, you or Ashka, when it comes to food?
I'm not going to compare myself with my wife. Next question.
Okay. Do you prefer doing yoga alone or in a company?
I love, I mean, usually I'm doing it by myself, but if
Mm-hmm.
I have, a group of 10, 15 people and we're all doing it together, it's a wonderful experience. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I'd prefer to do it in a group of people. It elevates the results massively.
Do you also practice yoga with Ashka? And do you suggest couple yoga as a therapy for many couples?
Of course it is. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since we practiced. Our time schedules don't really line up to practice together. She's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful practitioner, and she brings a lot of energy to her practice, and I bring a lot of energy to mine. So they kind of our energies kind of get to dance together.
Nice. By 10 p.m., I dash dash dash.
By 10
10 p.m.
p.m.,
exam.
I am usually in this part of my life, I'm usually building some sort of house with my son, whether it's a pillow fort or we find other things to stack and throw a blanket over. So yeah, I'm usually just
So he's not
chasing my
asleep
son
by
around the
10
house.
p.m.
Say again?
He's not asleep by 10 p.m. He doesn't go to bed early.
Oh, trust me.
Oh my God, he keeps you awake till
If
late in
we
the
had
night.
to say he did be in bed by 9:30, he just don't want to sleep. He doesn't want to sleep.
Okay.
So
What does your fun time look like with your family? Clearly, you said making homes, houses, but except for that.
we love Goa. We love the beach. My wife loves the beach. We had in the last few months, we've been to Goa again, kind of making our frequent trips. And Alex is at the stage where he can walk on his own and everything. And to see him on the beach, he is literally in Zen. He has his beach shovels and his beach buckets, and he will be there for hours and not want to leave. And he is completely absorbed in what he's doing. It's quite enlightening for us both. It kind of reminds us how you should be when you're in enjoyment. Nothing, no distractions, just absolutely mesmerized by how sand meets water and how it falls, and he loves to dig and he loves to clump it all together, and he is just you can't even talk to him. He won't talk to you, but he's happy. He's so happy. So
Lovely. Okay, now I'm giving a chance to compliment your wife on camera because the next question is my favorite quality about my wife is
My wife has my wife has this thing or doesn't have this thing in her brain that that prevents her from stopping to get what she wants. If she has a goal in mind, get out of her way. She is driven, she is ambitious, and she will see it through. And I've never known anyone like my wife for that very purpose. You read about them, you see them on television, but seeing her up close and seeing how her brain works, she is a solutions oriented person. And that's been it's had its challenges for me, but ultimately that's the way to be. It's not finding the problems, it's finding the solutions. And she is very much finding a solution to whatever is standing between her and her goal.
That's really beautiful. And I can gauge you're a romantic, Brent, aren't you? A romantic at heart.
Well, I get, I mean, I guess, I hope my wife's happy with me. We've been together all this time. Yeah,
I'm sure she is.
I think again, after you have kids and you decide that this little being who's come into your life, he magnifies everything between my wife and I, whether, whether it's sometimes good or challenging, he magnifies it. And so if it's challenging, you got to fix it. And the love that I have for my wife is also magnified 100x because of him, because it has to be. If you want to raise a well adjusted, um, wonderful child, you have to be wonderful to your spouse. And they copy everything. They grow mentally. They're going to grow physically whether you like it or not. But how you care for your spouse, how you support your spouse is going to determine the quality of child that you have. I've recognized this. If Aashka and I are a little, we're working on something on our own and not really connecting, you can tell my son picks up on that. And he starts to shift. If I am dancing with my wife in the kitchen for whatever reason, and we kind of slow dance together while she's doing something, Alex will kind of peek around the corner and want to come dance with us. And in those small moments that works on him, that seeds something in his subconscious that the one safe place is with mommy and daddy. So, am I romantic? Maybe.
But you're also a good parent, Brent. And I don't know if how well do you know Gen Z terms, but for somebody like you, there's this thing. It's called Pookie coded.
It's called what?
Pookie coded.
Pookie
Pookie.
corded?
Yeah. You're
Not
a
familiar with
Pookie.
that. I'm familiar with a lot of terms here in India, but I've never heard that before. Pookie corded?
Well, yeah, not, but yeah. People will start calling you Pookie after this. And this particular part, I'm sure, is going to get viral. Partners will be sharing it with their respective partners. Oh my God, you people will term you as Pookie. And I'm starting it here right now.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's start it.
Okay, to our next question. Your favorite quote from Swami Vivekananda.
Well, Swami Vivekananda has said a lot of things that are deeply insightful.
Right.
One thing that he has said on success is that success is not determined by what you obtain, but by what you become. And I think uh, I want to take a moment here. I know that work-life balance is important,
Yes.
but I will also say that it's the people who are driving this country forward, who are bringing massive amounts of prosperity to this country that are that aren't really following that axiom of work-life balance. They're becoming something incredible, whether that's becoming somebody who offers massive amounts of jobs to people or somebody who's creating this wonderful thing. There are also people in this world who have obtained a lot and that are empty. You just know that they're empty. So I will say that who are you becoming in this world is the most important thing. So Swami Vivekananda, may he rest in eternity and with us and in the next realm also. He has a lot of wonderful things that pervade through all timelines.
Right. Cooking a sattvic meal with Ashka or ordering post yoga smoothies.
Ooh. Honestly, I'm gonna go with this. Let's order the smoothies because then we can share a little bit back and forth. We also love cooking together. Sometimes I'll make some pasta. She'll, or I'll make some guacamole. She'll make something else and we'll all have snacks together. Just it's about the time that you spend.
Are you good in kitchen? Do you cook often?
Do we cook often? Yeah. Yeah, I cook every morning. So
What's the go-to breakfast then?
our go-to breakfast, so I eat eggs. So
Mhm.
I'm having eggs every morning. I have my oats, a little bit of butter on it, a little bit of maple syrup. I have a big high calorie smoothie that I take in. Aashka also has a morning smoothie. Alex eats kind of the same thing I do and makes it easy, but I cook it up for him in a way that he really likes it.
Right. So
For
you
most
are
days, some
turning
days
him
he doesn't
into
like it at all.
mini you. I think you're turning him into a mini you.
Well, I mean, I think your children are imprints of you to some degree. I don't know how to be anyone else. So I like me. So I'm in part, but he can be whoever he wants to be in this world as long as he's authentic and caring and he gives it his all.
Spiritual journey or physical transformation, what do you first?
Oof. Physical transformations are fleeting. Your
Mm-hmm.
body is always in a state of flux. It's satisfying to have a goal and to achieve it for a physical transformation. That's awesome. And then it's done. And that's off to the next thing. A
Mm-hmm.
spiritual journey, um, you don't really backtrack from that. There's no sliding back into who you were before. Not really, because the discoveries that you make along a spiritual journey are illuminating. And you it's very difficult to turn your back on the pearls of wisdom that you find within yourself. I think I don't mean to be graphic, but I believe one of my old yoga teachers said to go back to the ignorant state that you once were in is like a dog eating its own vomit. Sorry that I had to be graphic, but that is actually one of the most perfect examples of what it's like. In a physical transformation, we can go back to how we were. There's virtually no consequences there. But in a spiritual transformation, why would you do that? When all has been revealed to you, why would you turn your back on that? So with a spiritual journey, it builds you as a person to make whatever changes that you make. It updates that software for the 300,000-year-old hardware, which is still going to virtually remain the same. Just sometimes it has abs, sometimes it doesn't. With that spiritual journey, your cells mentally your DNA changes and doesn't go back. And that's beautiful about it. That's what's just timeless about a spiritual journey.
Perfect. Now, I'd also want to know what's your plan for this International Yoga Day? What are you planning to do?
Oh
Are you
man,
taking
I'm
any
going
more
to be
classes? You're traveling?
well, we're for International Yoga Day, it's gonna be a good solid practice. I plan to really take a good solid amount of time in meditation today and reflect on my life and reflect on the year forward. International Yoga Day has almost become like a mid new year for me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Where January 1 is kind of the fresh of the start of something new. Um, that I think it's almost like a spiritual new year that it's become, because everyone around India and at greater parts of the world all takes a moment to reflect on what yoga has done for them and what they bring to yoga, what they bring to the world in extension. And I think those are good questions to sit with.
Right. We have covered everything, right? From yoga to how spiritual you are, right? A great father, a great partner. But Brent, if you had to write an introduction for yourself apart from these things, just who Brent is as a person, because we learned so much today, many aspects of you, which even I did not know. I was a fan. I saw you in Brentgoble, and then I was like, yes, I'm rooting for this couple. And you all have come such a long way, and it's an inspiration, really, how far you have come. But again, who is Brent apart from all these things?
I am a person that has taken giant risks in my life and not really knowing where I would land. I don't recommend it for all people, but I'm the one captaining this vessel right now.
Mhm.
And I, in a sense of writing about who I am, I would much rather dictate to my previous self that I wish if I could go back and slip a letter in my nightstand to my younger self. I would say that the growth that you need to make is in the things that you're avoiding. And it might be painful that you think, but it's going to be way more painful if you don't pursue the things that you're avoiding. So, in recommending that to anyone, I will say that if you have something out there that you're interested in trying, inquire, take that first step forward. And your life is going to change whether you like it or not, but change it in the right direction.
Lovely. Thank you so much. There's so much power when you speak, and I can feel that, and a sense of calm that you carry. Thank you so much for gracing this session, Brent.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate you being here. All the best for everything that you do in life. Keep inspiring that you are doing already. And I hope your kindness reaches many more people. Thank you so much for doing this with us
Thank
again.
you.